Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Friday, October the 3rd, 2025. And big day yesterday with Aussie boxing. A few things on the go, a few big names in the news. Tim Tszyu, Joe Petaia, Andrew Maloney, all in the news yesterday. So I'll get to all that in a second. As expected yesterday, a bit of feedback about my comments about the potential Nikita Tszyu, Michael Zerafa fight. Just probably got to say to a few people, just need to chill a little bit. You know, it's, as I said at the start of the video, nothing personal against Michael. I just was asked to substantiate my opinions or whatever you might want to call it. And I gave my point of views and my opinions on why I think Nikita Tszyu will beat Michael Zerafa. It was never a shot at Michael. I think I made that pretty clear. But geez, I'll tell you what, there's a few people get their knickers in a twist about just having an opinion these days, as is expected. But just chill, guys. It's all good. If you want to give me your thoughts on why Michael wins, go right ahead. But as I said yesterday, I was asked to justify or explain my decision, my opinion a little bit more clearly. And that's what I did. So take it as you will. We just need to chill a little bit and don't take it too personally. Okay. I did say Michael's a very, very good fighter, but I think Nikita will get the job done. All right. On to yesterday. Some big news. Well, first of all, I want to talk about Tim Tszyu. Now he did an interview. He did an interview about the split with his team. And it was pretty revealing on some of his thoughts. He did actually open himself up a fair bit to what had happened and gave us a little bit more insight into his point of view. We've heard all sorts of different rumours and stories and innuendo and everything else. And it was good to see that Tim actually have his say straight from the horse's mouth, as they say. And it was as I said, yeah, it was revealing. Some of the key points that probably stood out is he said he hasn't actually fired all 5 of his crew. Pretty much Glenn and Igor were the 2 that were officially let go. He said he's still open to working with his cut man, Mark Gambin. He also said that he is currently working with his strength and conditioning coach in Dave Barker. And also he's actually reached out to Dr. Bill. Now, what's his name? Is it? Sorry, I won't try and say his name, so I can't remember. But Dr. Bill, we all know Dr. Bill, really, really good guy. I've met him a couple of times, and he's reached out to him as well about possibly sort of working together again down the track. Although he does think it's probably unlikely, considering that Dr. Bill is such an integral part of Glenn and Igor. He also said, as far as Jeff Fenech goes, as far as what role that Jeff will have, he said, look, it all just depends on the new trainer, what role Jeff will have. And at the moment, Jeff is purely just an advisor, mentor, all that sort of stuff. But he is about to go over to the States for an 8-week, I suppose, fact-finding mission over there, taking the gear over, and will train with, I think it was 5 coaches over there, meet with them and probably just rack their mind as far as what they would have in mind for Tim and where he needs to improve and work on. So he'll do some work with those coaches as well. And apparently they're 5 pretty big names in the sport, and he will then make his decision. I suppose the coach has also probably got to decide that he wants to take Tim on as well, I suppose. But you would think that any trainer worth his salt would want someone like Tim Tszyu walking through his doors. But apparently they are all very, very well-established trainers, having trained multiple world champions. And it was just interesting to hear Tim talk about, I suppose, some of the falling downs of is that the expression of his previous team, which... Look, I just think he probably just needs to be a little bit careful with, because end of the day, okay, his team might have made a few blues and might not have made the right decision on different occasions, but overall I think the team had Tim's best interests at heart the whole way. You've heard Glenn say that he sort of loved Tim like a son, so I don't think any of them would have done anything untoward deliberately. And I don't think he probably went down that track, but he did hint on a few things that he said, look, as far as coaching goes, Even though he'd been to America a few times, he said he never enjoyed it, training over there. And pretty much without sort of putting words in his mouth, sort of hinted that he never got anything out of the training sessions over there. Didn't really expand on his experience levels by probably being a bit more closed shop over there and not sort of venturing out to a lot more gyms, all these different sorts of things. As far as the managerial side of things, I suppose he did say with the Bakram Murtazaliev fight that he didn't know about the IBF rehydration clause, and if he had known about it, he wouldn't have taken the fight. I think he said it normally, I'm talking in pounds here, I think it's what's middleweight, light middleweight is 70, what is he? Yeah, 154, 70 kilos. He did say that he would normally bulk up to about 80 kilos on fight night, but because he couldn't do that against Murtazaliev, he woke up, I think, at about 74 and might have got in there. Did he get in there at 74? I think he might have. 70, yeah, it's no more than 10 pounds. So I think he woke up at 74, and then on fight night might have been sort of 76, 77, something like that. But he said he wasn't his normal self. Now, I think Murtazaliev, the left and right hands you threw at Tim probably had more to do with it than weight cut. But having said that, I suppose the mental issues that would create it, and I've been there myself, and I know how hard it is to try and make weight, especially after you've actually weighed in. Then you've got to weigh in the next day. All you want to do is eat and drink and everything else and worry about the fight. And he would have had to have made weight for a second time. So I think it was more so it took his mind away from the fight a little earlier than maybe what it should have. It should be weigh in and then worry about the fight. He was worrying about 2 weigh-ins in a row, and it did affect him. So which is probably true. But I don't think it would have made much difference on fight night with the performance that Murtazaliev put on. But I can understand that. Yeah, it definitely would have. It just made him concentrate on making weight longer than what he would have liked than concentrating on the fight. So. What else did he sort of say? I'm just trying to think of some of the. I think along the lines, he didn't disrespect his previous team, but at the same time, he wanted. I think he just wanted everyone to know that, hey, it wasn't just me saying, hey, enough of this. I'm going to sack my team and be done with it. He said actually he made the final call when he was in Japan by himself. He went solo. I think he said his wife was working. So he just went to Japan by himself, went around to some gyms, sort of cleared his mind, and that's when he made the call. I think he did say also, it's sort of after the first loss to Fundora, it did enter his mind that maybe he wasn't operating on 8 cylinders, but made the final call after the Fundora fight, the second one. But one thing he did say is that it was his call entirely with quitting at the end of the 8th round, or retiring at the end of the 8th round, 7th round, whatever it was, against Fundora. He got back to the corner and just said he had nothing left, and he was the one that made the call, even though I think some other comments had been that the team had made the call. Well, Tim actually said it was him personally that made that decision. As far as fighting, again, he said, look, he just doesn't know when, because obviously he's got to hook up with the right trainer. He's got to then see the chemistry between the two. They've got to, maybe the new trainer says, I reckon we can go straight away, let's do it. But then again, he might have someone who says, no, we need time to work on some stuff. So it all depends on the new coach. And I think it will probably be done within the next, at the end of that 8-week period. So you probably think by the end of this year, he would have a coach. So you wouldn't have thought that, unless he goes over there straight away and finds the right person and they get straight into camp and they fight before the end of the year. But I mean, we are in October now. So you'd think he'd have like a 9 or 10 week window from now to actually fight. So I don't think that's actually going to happen. I think you'll probably find it'll be, February, March, even April next year. So that's the Tim Tszyu situation at the moment. He did actually also put to bed a rift between him and Nikita. He said, look, there's no dramas there. He said, we've caught up recently, and obviously we wish nothing but the best for each other, and people talk, but he said there is no rift between himself and Nikita. He says he loves his brother, and even though they've got separate teams now, they'll still always be super close and support each other in everything they do. So I think you can watch the video. It's on YouTube. I actually read the interview on the Main Event Facebook page yesterday. I just wanted to sort of sift my way through it, and do it that way. So have a look at it yourself. I think I've covered most of what he said, but if I haven't, if I missed something, you can go check it out for yourself. The other one was yesterday, Jai Opetaia. The fight with Sin Cara is official. That will take place on December 6th, as we all sort of gathered. Now, if the No Limit rumours are correct with the double header at the end of November up there, it's going to be a very, very busy sort of week or two on the Gold Coast. We're going to have, if it all goes according to plan, we'll have the Liam Paro, Daryl Foley and Nikita and Michaels Rafa fights at the end of, or the last weekend of November. And then the following week will be the Opetaia Sin Cara fight. So if you're looking for a bit of a getaway at that time of year, well, 2 weekends in a row, you're going to have massive cards. So all that needs to happen now is the No Limit shows to be announced, and I suppose people can get planning. But it's going to come around really quick, and what a week in Australian boxing that will be if it all plays out the way we think it's going to happen. Now, Jai was pretty outspoken yesterday. Look, I just saw his interview while in front of the press. I mean, he sort of said everything nothing different than what he said in the past about his aims and goals and the way he looks at the boxing world at the moment. But I was really intrigued by the Mick Francis interview, and I watched that. It goes for a little while. I think it might go for 15 or 20 minutes. I can't remember, but really good interview by Noonan boy, Nick Noonan. Asked the really good questions, and Mick never holds back, and I found it really, really interesting. So jump on, I think it's on Australian Boxing Central or Noonan Boy Promotions page, whatever it might be. But really good interview with Mick where he breaks down the thought process behind Jai Opetaia at the moment. And, of course, after this fight on December 6th, it looks like he might have a quick turnaround. Apparently, Turki Al Sheikh wants him to fight at the end of January, which is a very, very quick turnaround, like 7 weeks or something. So I don't know whether they're expecting an early night against Sin Cara, but Turki Al Sheikh wants him on that card. They're talking about possibly Badou Jack, but Badou Jack's got his own fight coming up and hasn't exactly been the most active fighter out there along the way. So I doubt that will be him. Zurdo Ramirez is apparently looking to start training in January or February, so you think he'd be sort of ready to go by mid-year, but Mick did say that, in his opinion, he won't want to fight Jai first up. He's going to want to tune up. So it could be November, December next year that we could get Jai and Zurdo Ramirez. It's a long way away, isn't it? And to think that this fight's been building already for quite some time, and we might have to wait another sort of 14 months or 13 months, whatever. It's a big wait. Whether Jai will wait, it sounds like that's what he wants to do. He did mention also Chris Billum-Smith. They offered him $1 million to fight Jai. He won't take it. He has mentioned everyone except Jai Opetaia. He said he did take the Zurdo Ramirez fight over Jai, thinking it'd be the easier fight, and obviously that blew up in his face, and now won't even mention Jai's name, which just staggers me. Geez, if someone offered you $1 million on a world title shot, wouldn't you take it? You're a boxer, for God's sake. This is what you do. You're a prize fighter. This whole picking and choosing sort of thing, it just staggers me sometimes. But yeah, not a lot of other big names in the division, unfortunately. So, obviously they want to move up at some stage. He actually also mentioned David Benavidez. Apparently Turki Al Sheikh's very, very keen on that fight as well. And Mick said, yep, we would be open to that fight. David Benavidez has got a pretty big frame and would probably move up the cruiserweight, no problems. And I think I've been pretty vocal in saying myself that I think that is the fight to make. If Zurdo Ramirez is 14 months away, and Badou Jack's not too stressed about fighting Jai, and David Benavidez is complaining that no one will fight him and he can't get a massive fight, and has talked about fighting Zurdo Ramirez in the past at cruiserweight, I just don't see why after this fight, if there's nothing really happening, that they match up those guys. Now, the other one, if it was David Benavidez, why couldn't they do it? Is it the end of February? I think they do it, the Riyadh season card. So rather than the end of January, do it the end of February. And that would make, because I think what's David Benavidez is fighting, I think, is October, November, whatever it might be. So it might be a 3 or 4 month turnaround for him and a 3 month turnaround for Jai. All of a sudden, we've got ourselves a fight, headliner Riyadh season card. It will be awesome. So anyway, we will see on that. But really good to see Jai and Mick front the cameras yesterday. And one thing that did get my attention is that actually Mick said, I think next week or the week after, I'm sure he said next week, that there will be a massive announcement, because I think it was brought up about Jai and Mick saying how frustrated they still are that they can't sort of get the attention and respect out of the Australian public that they do overseas, apparently in America and particularly England. Very, very well known. Jai really can't go anywhere without being mobbed, where here in Australia he can walk down the street and no one knows who he is, which is, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? I think the Australian press have a lot to answer for here. But anyway, it's another conversation. But I did say a big announcement was coming that was going to go some ways to actually rectifying that. So what could it be? I've got a feeling, and I don't know anything here, I'm just guessing, that maybe with the DAZN and Fox Sports contracts coming to, not coming to an end, but they're about to merge. DAZN is about to take over Foxtel. I've got just a gut feeling that maybe what they're talking about as far as the attention given to Jai changing might be that he is with DAZN, that with the merger, that his fights will now be shown on pay-per-view in Australia on Main Event or Foxtel. That's probably the thing I'm sort of looking at, and they will give No Limit something to think about as far as the shows goes, because as far as I know, that contract is ending soon, and with DAZN taking over Foxtel, you would, and I think I've actually discussed this before, that from what I heard was that the DAZN fights would be shown on Main Event or Foxtel here in Australia, and overseas the fights would be able to be seen on, also the No Limit shows that are currently on Foxtel and Main Event would be able to be seen on the DAZN app internationally. That's sort of the way I gathered it, but that's the only thing I can think of, is that maybe is that even though Jai's fights are going to be still with DAZN, they will be shown on a Main Event pay-per-view like the No Limit shows are at the moment, and they will obviously get behind him as far as the advertising goes. Because the thing is, here in Australia, on Foxtel, you would see that when No Limit have a pay-per-view or even just a fight night, it is all over every channel, not just those particular channels. It is all over all those other channels, the comedy channels and the movie channels and all that sort of stuff. Hence why the No Limit fighters obviously get a lot more exposure, and I've got a feeling that's what it might be for Jai, that his fights will now be shown on Main Event, which will be fantastic. But either way, look, Mick, I really like the way Mick talks. No nonsense, no frills, just straight down the line. He looks straight down the camera and just lets you know exactly what's going on. Doesn't try and, let's just say doesn't try and pretend to be something that he's not, and tries to tells bullshit to buy pay-per-views, and he actually did have a shot across the bow, I think, at No Limit as well, as far as the quality of opposition that they've had on their shows for their fighters. But I just like Mick because he, as I said, he doesn't pull any punches. He just tells you the way it is. No bullshit, no lies, no trying to hype up fights for being more than what they are, which we have seen in on other shows. And you know, he's been open about all the opponents. I think even with Sequeiro, he openly said, look, this is not the guy we want to fight. We know he's not the greatest out there, but Jai's he's got to fight him, so he'll get this bloke out the road and away we go. Sin Cara is the same. Hey, he's a mandatory challenger. What are we going to do? We've got to fight him and let's go. At the same time, not putting the horse, the cart before the horse, and just saying, hey, look, we've got these plans, but you know, we've got to get past this guy first. But he hasn't tried to make out that Sin Cara is the second coming of Lennox Lewis or Riddick Bowe or Evander Holyfield or anything like that. He's just told it the way it is, and that's what I like about Mick. So some big news coming there, and I really hope that Jai gets the exposure and the fights that he's really after, because he deserves it. He's 30 years old, so he needs to obviously get things rolling now. And I've got a feeling, judging by Mick's tone and his comments, that they're well on the way. Now, I didn't actually go over the on this day, as I'll quickly go through them right now. Back in 1981, sorry about that, by the way, Alexis Arguello defended the lightweight title with a knockout of Boom Boom Mancini in Atlantic City. In 1981 as well, Marvelous Marvin Hagler knocked out Mustafa Hamsho in 11 rounds in Chicago. He would repeat the dose 2 years later, stopping Hamsho in 3 rounds. 1998, Floyd Mayweather won the super featherweight title with a knockout of Gennaro Hernandez in the 8th round in Las Vegas. And in 2015, Victor Postol won the super lightweight title with a knockout of Lucas Matisse in the 10th round in Carson, California. So sorry about that. I didn't mention those before, but I'll just quickly run through them there. What else do we have? Oh, there's one other. Oh, Andrew Maloney. Now, hasn't really been made public, I don't think, anywhere in Australia at the moment from what I've seen on any of the sites. But on December 27th, IBF champion Willibaldo Garcia will fight Kenshiro Terashi for that IBF belt. The winner must fight Andrew Maloney next. He's going to be the mandatory challenger, or he's the mandatory challenger. No ifs, ands, or buts. They must fight Andrew Maloney next. There'll be no exemptions given. There'll be no step-aside money, nothing like that. And it looks like that fight will take place, or it's got to take place before June next year. Now, Andrew hasn't actually fought this year yet, which is a little bit of a concern. He's had trouble getting fights. Of course, he was supposed to fight in Mexico City a month or so ago. Or two, or whatever it was, and situations out of his control forced him to step out of that fight. So he's been inactive, so I'm sure they'll get at least one more fight in for him at some stage. But yeah, his fight with the winner of that fight will take place before the middle of next year. So good news for Andrew. If he can hang in there and get another win under his belt before June next year. Now, one thing before I go, Manny Pacquiao has thrown his hat in the ring as a major promoter. I know he's had Manny Pacquiao promotions for a while, but I think it's been more so for tax reasons. You will see a lot of these elite fighters will have promotional companies. Again, as I've heard, it's for tax reasons and everything else. You'll see Canelo has his own promotions company. I think Miguel Cotto, Shea Mosley, all those fighters all had their own promotional companies without actually putting on any fight. So, and Manny Pacquiao was the same. But now, in conjunction with a few of his trusted advisors and partners, that he will be putting the foot down on Manny Pacquiao Promotions and, in their own words, saying that they want to be the biggest promotional firm, was it in the world or just America? In America, I can't remember. But either way, big words from Sean Gibbons. He's a partner and advisor, mentor, whatever you might want to be, or manager of Manny Pacquiao, that they're looking to be number one. They won't be going to a normal platform as far as the shows goes. They'll have their own pay-per-view version or something like that. I couldn't really make too much sense of it, to be honest, but look, pretty bold words. I will say now I strongly doubt they can get anywhere near it, but hey, you never know. You never know. Manny's obviously got a lot of backing, a lot of clout, a lot of contacts, so I'm sure they can have a crack at it. But geez, when you've already got Oscar and Eddie and Frank, and well, Frank's overseas, but Bob, and then on top of that, you've got the new Dana White Zuffa thing and Turki Al-Sheikh and everything out there sort of backing whoever he sort of feels like at the time, that it's going to be tough for that organisation. But hey, the intentions are there. But geez, how many of these type of promotional firms have sort of come and gone? It's a tough business. As much as I love Manny, I'm just not sure with those other sort of big players out there that his firm can make any difference whatsoever and sign up. A lot of the young fighters are looking to sign, unless they're maybe Filipino fighters. But he did say they're looking to take on America, which means obviously American fighters. I don't know, when you got Dana White out there with the Zuffa thing and being backed by Turki Al-Sheikh, and they're out to sign up all the young talent, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And as I said, so many of these promotional firms have come and gone. I wish Manny all the best. But I must admit, I'll be a believer when I see some action and see some results. At this stage, as I said, for me, it's pretty doubtful that they'll be able to do anything. But anyway, give me your thoughts as always. Hope you have an awesome Friday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.